All right, welcome to today's video, guys. We're going to do some extended studs today, some ARP extended studs, along with some H&R 20 millimeter spacers. So I have everything ready to go. I have the brakes, calipers, and rotors off of the car already. If you need to see how I do that, just check out one of my other videos. But today is mainly going to be on installing these studs and spacers, along with the tools required to do so. So if you're wondering why these spacers look a little funny, it's because I bought the wrong type of spacer. These actually used to be studded spacers, so you can see the knurl in here. I pressed out the studs. I'm gonna just use these just because I have it already. This is a 64.1 millimeter bore for the rear on the NSX. It's not ideal again because there's all these extra holes. Typically, if you just want a sandwich spacer that you're gonna do with extended studs, you want something like this, as opposed to what I had. So you'll see that the holes are a lot smaller. They don't have the larger hole meant for the nut that they include to adapt to your current setup. So I meant to buy this type of spacer, but I got this one, and so I'm just working with what I had. So I ended up just pushing out the studs, and I'm going to use this. Should be safe. This is again H&R brand, so it's a really good quality, made in Germany. 20 millimeters, pretty thick, so I think it'll be just fine. And the tool you need here is a Lisle stud installer. And so this guy has like a little bearing on the back, and you put a lug nut on this side, and you just basically sandwich the lug nut on and tighten it and to pull the stud through the hub. And here's the new ARP studs. So I'm just doing the rears, that's all I need. And I need just to do 20 millimeter just to push the M7s out a little bit. And so one of the other reasons why I couldn't use a bolt-on spacer is because there's no pocket reliefs in the back of the M7s. So originally I tried to do a 25 millimeter spacer, bolt-on spacer, but the stock studs are a little over 27.5 millimeter. I'll insert a picture right here. And so, they would have been over by 2.5 millimeters or so sticking out. And I would have had to shave down the stock studs, which I didn't want to do. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the speed sensor. Set that aside carefully. Sledgehammer works a lot better. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and got my 36 millimeter on my gun. Okay, with the nut removed, we'll just have to remove these looks like 14 millimeter nuts on the back. We should be able to pull this off, hopefully, if it's not too stuck on the axle. Okay, these are actually 14 millimeter bolts. Last one is hidden down underneath here, guys, so you probably won't be able to see it, but to take my word for it. Okay, so I think I got it, guys. Excuse the noise. So here's the assembly. The ARP heads look up roughly the same size as OEM. So I'm just going to shave a little bit of this piece off here. That way I can get these straight in. So just a quick shot of where looks like you need to grind. You actually want to grind right in this crevice right here, but it looks like the lowest point is actually slightly to the side of that where I have these dashed lines. So I'm going to try to grind there and see if that gets me closer. All right, guys, we're back. So I got done grinding this, and so you can see that how much I had to take off. I would say maybe 3 millimeters or so. So I can't say whether this is better than grinding down a stud or not. That's gonna have to be your decision. I thought I would have to grind down less than this, but it is what it is, so I'm gonna go with it. As you can see, I have enough room to push out the studs now. So there we are. So let's see if we have enough room to get the new studs in. Looks like we do. So successful. Again, whether you grind down the studs or this, that's gonna be totally up to you. I can't decide right now for myself whether, you know, losing this amount of material on wheel bearing assembly is better than losing a quarter of a stud on each stud. So again, you make that decision for yourself. So we got dropped in all the studs loosely, and so now here's the stud installation tool. And again, this has a bearing in it right now, so you stick this on here and you put a lug nut on it. You can tighten it, and this can turn. And these two, the outer race and inner race, can turn independently and pull the stud in. So like, as much as I don't want to use my new lug nuts along with the you know, I figure I'll probably have to use a gun on this, and you're not typically supposed to use a gun with these thin-walled adapters. So one of the studs went in by hand using hand tools. The other one I had to use impact. I don't typically like to use impact on these thin-walled keys, but this is the only open-ended lug nut I have right now. So that might be one of the things you want to do is, if you don't have any crappy open-ended lug nuts, you may want to buy, you know, just a cheapy set of open-ended, so you can put these in. All right, I think I can do the rest by hand. I'm going to do it on the vehicle so I don't have to use my impact wrench and damage my key. So we're going to go ahead and put this on the vehicle right now, and I'll tighten the rest of these on. So don't forget to put your heat shield back on. Don't make the same mistake I did. You'll see later in the video. All right, now just install these bolts and then install the rest of the heat shield bolts. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and install this in reverse order. Just put it on, put these 4 bolts in, and then torque it down. All right, so these bolts holding the hub in are torqued to 47 foot-pounds. Okay, now that this hub is torqued in, I'm going to go ahead and finish up on the rest of the studs. Okay, all the studs are installed now. All I need to do is just reassemble everything. All right, this axle nut is 242 foot-pounds. I'm going to shoot it on with the gun first and then torque it on. So if you're stupid like me and you bought these studded spacers and had to press out the studs, my friend brought up to me after I posted on Instagram that it's probably better to not do this because there could be some play and could mess up the studs. Although you're torquing on the wheel, and if you have play, maybe you have bigger problems, but he said he recommended putting it on like this and using the included nuts like that. That way the spacer is centered and you won't have any movement. So shout out to Dwayne from our compound. Thanks for that tip. If you bought normal spacers, the correct ones, then this does not apply to you. So only if you're stupid like me. Well, here it is, guys. Looks pretty perfect to me.